Mr. Senate President, the fourth order of the day is presentation and consideration of the report of Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on the Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Iragbiji, Ogun State, Establishment Bill 2024, SB 569. Distinguished senators recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 2nd October 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Timon Bakola Long, Chairman of Committee, to move the motion for presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Simon Lalong.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I'm Simon Lalong, representing Plateau South. Mr. President, I rise to move the motion to allow to lay the report on the Committee on Agriculture and Colleges, to lay the report on the federal colleges, as establishment of the Federal University. Yes. Yes, on the Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Refugee in Osun State. I so move.
The minority leader, Senator Olarale.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Olalele Kamaldun Yewumi. I rise to second the motion as ably moved at 2 seconds.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the report on the establishment of this federal university be laid before this August Assembly. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Lalong, you may proceed to lay your report. They are from different committees. Kindly summarize the report.
Yes, Mr. President. This is the report of the Senate Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Development Studies, Iragbiji, in Osun State, Establishment Bill 2024, SB 569. As a preamble, Mr. President, on the Wednesday, 2nd October, this bill was committed to the committee. The committee went ahead to organize a public hearing. The public hearing had a very large turnout, including the Senate President himself, Deputy Senate President, the leader of the Senate, almost all the principal officers, and traditional rulers. The objectives of this bill is as stated out in section 2.0 to encourage the advancement of learning and to hold out to all persons without distinction of race, freed sects of political conviction the opportunity to acquiring a tertiary education in agriculture and development studies, and to develop and offer academic professional programs leading to an award of diplomas, and so on. They are all stated very clear, up to the last one. The committee legislative actions on receipt, I said, organized the public hearing. After the public hearing, Mr. President, there were observations and findings. Some of the observations are already stated on page 3, and then we went into the recommendations. One of the observation was the change of the name from Agri Research Institutions to Federal University of Agriculture and Development Studies, which were all explained, Mr. President. The recommendations, the committee having carefully considered the merits and otherwise of the bill, in conjunction with the views and opinions expressed by the stakeholders and the general public, hereby recommend as follows: that the Senate do consider and pass the bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Development Studies, Iragbiji, in Osun State Agriculture, by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. So that on that, the committee uses this opportunity to appreciate the Senate under the leadership of its indefatigable President, distinguished Senator Godfrey Obot Okwabio, GCON, for the opportunity to serve in this capacity, and humbly request that this bill be passed. I so move.
Distinguished Senator Mongunu.
Distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. Mr. President, this bill is what we lawyers call res ipsa loquitur, speaks for itself, and therefore does not need much debate. But for the purpose of legislative exercise, I will contribute my widow's mite towards this debate. Having served as chairman of Agriculture Committee in the House for 8 years. Mr. President, distinguished senators, agriculture accounts for about 70% of our employment and 30% of our GDP. As such, it behoves on us to support the establishment of institutions that have bias for agricultural discipline, especially against the gospel of diversification of our economy away from oil to agriculture that is not only being preached, no? Okay, report me. Okay. So in view of the fact that it is an institution that seeks to be agri-discipline, bias in agri, and coupled with the fact that we are preaching the gospel of diversification of our economy away from agriculture to other sources of revenue to create the much needed employment and add the much needed foreign exchange, I support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Since it doesn't require much debate, I must thank the chairman of the committee on agricultural colleges and institutions, and all members of that committee for the speedy job done on this, and for the public hearing and the recommendations to this August Assembly. Distinguished Senator Lalong, well done. A good job done, and all members of your committee. I thank my colleagues also for their contributions. At this point, may I invite the Senate leader to move that we go into clause by clause consideration in the committee of the whole.
Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues. I rise to move that the Senate resolve to a committee of the whole to enable us consider this report. I so move.
Yes, the minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. I rise to second the motion moved by the Senate leader that the House resolve to committee of whole to consider the clause by clause continuation of the bill. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we do resolve into committee of the whole to undertake clause by clause consideration of this bill. Those in support of the motion say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Report of the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Development Studies, Irabiji, Osun State, and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters 2024, SB 569. Those in support of the long title on page 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of page of clause 2 to 10 as written say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of clause 10 to clause 20 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of clause 20, 21 to 26 as contained herein say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of the interpretation clause 27 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of the schedules on page 34 to 41, schedules 1 to 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of the explanatory memorandum on page 53 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Once again, I express my gratitude to the committee for a wonderful job done. And I now invite the Senate leader to move a motion for us to revert to plenary to report progress.
Thank you, Mr. President, sitting as chair, very distinguished colleagues. I move that the Senate goes back to plenary to enable the chair to report progress. I so move.
Minority leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I write to second the motion moved that the Senate refer back to plenary for the chair to report progress.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we do revert to plenary to report progress. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on the Federal University of Agriculture and Development Studies, Irabweji, Osun State Establishment Bill 2024, and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses 1 to 26 as recommended. Interpretation clause 27 as recommended. Schedules on page 53, schedules 1 to 3 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Senate leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the bill be now read the third time. I so move.
Yes, the minority leader.
Then the single colleagues, I like to second the motion that the bill be read the third time. I so second.
The motion has been moved and seconded that this bill be now read a third time. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Development Studies, Irabweji, Osun State, and make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration, and for related matters 2024. Third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Development Studies, Irabweji, in Osun State, and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters 2024. Third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Development Studies, Irabweji, Osun State, and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters 2024. Third reading taken and passed. Let me thank my distinguished colleagues and also congratulate the good people of Osun State and congratulate Nigeria, the establishment of this University of Agriculture, and pray that through this university, Nigeria will be able to produce what it consumes and consume what it produces. And the employment opportunities will be created for many Nigerians. At a time like this, there's no word to describe the joy of this Senate for adding value to the tertiary educational system in this country. And we pray that when Mr. President assents this bill into an act of parliament, it will stay for centuries to contribute to the development of this country. So I thank you all. Leader of the
Thank you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues. The fifth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TETFund on the David Umahi University of Health Sciences Establishment Bill 2024, SB 365. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 28 February 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite most distinguished Senator Mohammed Danduse Muntari, chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Danduse.
Thank you, Mr. President. My respected colleagues. I remain Dandusa Muntar Mohammed, representing Katsina South, that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Third Fund on the David Umahi University of Health Science Establishment Bill 2024, SB 365. I so submit.
Yes, point of order.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I want to come under Order 42. If it is your wish, I would like to read Order 42.
Please proceed.
By the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, the Senator may make a personal explanation, although there be no question before the Senate. But no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor may debate arise upon explanation. The terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted. Okay, sir.
Continue.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, I remember the bill that Senator Danduse is.
So there are issues to be discussed. So I hereby uphold the point of order raised by Senator Siri. So this bill is accordingly stepped down for further consultation. In view of that, the Senate hereby adjourns to the 19th day of November 2024 at 11 a.m. prompt.